Oh, you're singing too. Are we starting at the beginning?
Nope.
You're that ass I'm hearing on the call.
Think you're the greatest sand guy of them all.
Then why can't I do?
Queries on disk mounted by you.
You've been a dipshit for the longest time.
Maybe he won't last very long.
He thinks he's so right.
He couldn't be more wrong.
Devs are the greatest sequel guys of all.
Well, they can lick my balls, but they're better than end users.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sean.
I'm Jen.
This is something she doesn't announce her show all the time.
I do. I was just waiting to see how you'd react. This is DBAs at Midnight.
Why does everybody do off-the-wall shit just to see if I'll get pissed off?
I'm not seeing if you would get pissed off.
Well, you wanted to see how I would react, and do I ever react any other way to something not going right?
I'm trying to...
So you're waiting to see if I'm going to get pissed, or how long it takes me to get pissed off?
So you're basically saying that your only reaction to anything in life is anger.
Anything that doesn't go right, yeah. How long have you known me?
Anyway, hi. Today is March 7th, 2014. We did not have a recorded show last week because we were out of town. We were in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yes, we were.
And I don't say that ironically or sarcastically at all. It was really quite beautiful.
It was okay.
My friend Julie came My friend Julie came over and I was like, they've got mountains there. And she's like, I said, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, so we've never
been to Utah.
Yeah, we've never been to Utah before. I'd never even thought about going to Salt Lake City, right?
I know they had the Winter Olympics in Provo.
Yeah, we don't pay attention to that.
And
yeah, there was like a monument thing in the city.
In fact,
a cool place called Moab or something like that.
I was pretty sure that Salt Lake was someplace I was never, ever, ever going to go.
No, I figured I would eventually hit Salt Lake. I imagine I'll eventually hit most of the major cities in the U.S.
Well, it's like Duluth. What?
Do they have mountains in Duluth?
So,
yeah, but if we had paid more attention, we might have scheduled an extra day and skied, and it wouldn't have mattered because the kids were off to school for an ice day anyway.
Yeah. So as it turns out, we stepped out early one morning to go get donuts. Mm-hmm. And
Good donuts.
And I was like, we had the small town. It wasn't like we weren't in the city, right? And I was like, wow, there's a really pretty picture behind those buildings. There's a really pretty picture of mountains behind those buildings. Who knew?
Let's see. Oh, yeah.
Mormon donuts, exactly.
Been here. There we go. So anyway, we were out of town. I was in the middle of saying we were out of town. And so last week what we did, Freddie was kind enough to come over on his night off when we weren't presumably going to do a show and play our season 1, episode 1. And so we all watched it together, and I was fairly amused.
Our first show ever. No.
It still holds up.
I'm going to comment on something that somebody said in the chat.
Okay.
No, last week.
Okay.
Was it last week?
I don't know.
Wow, it seems so long ago.
I
It was last
actually
week.
don't know what you're talking about yet, so...
The show you were just talking about that we broadcast.
Don't know what comment you were talking about, so I couldn't possibly say.
But it was during that show, so it had to have been during that
You didn't say that. You
broadcast.
just said there was this comment once. When was that comment? Was that last week?
I didn't say once.
Just go. Things are going wrong for him, apparently.
Shit, you're killing me. Now you're just trying, aren't you?
Well, I started trying to about halfway through this particular conversation.
I can tell.
Just because I saw it was going downhill, and I was like, you know what? Let's just roll with it.
So anyway, somebody mentioned that we don't laugh as much as we used to. I know, right? You do not want me to make another one of those shows, do you? Do you really want me to make another happy show?
We did not laugh during that show. We were just excessively polite.
Yes, I know, but I'm saying, why are we under a heat lamp again?
Don't worry about that. Just do your thing.
So do you want me to make a laughing show? Because I will. It's not that we don't laugh as much as we used to. Okay, so talking about how the show has changed.
Enjoyed your show.
Enjoyed your show. Talking about how the show has grown and stayed the same, right? How it's changed and stayed the same. Sure, maybe we don't laugh as much as we used to. Maybe we do. It's just that. Okay, so we're 5 years older, right? We literally, and I'm not kidding about this, this was one of our main tenets back in those first 2 seasons, was
only film when you're punchy.
Only film when you're punchy. We stayed up really, really late.
Yep.
So that we could film, and this was before we had a live studio audience, right?
No one would stay up that late for us.
Yeah. And we only filmed when we were a certain amount of tired. And it changes something, right?
We also had young children at the time, in addition to having to stay up late in order to get them to sleep so that we could film. There was also the matter of being sleep deprived anyway. You reminded me of something. My memory is a big, giant, gaping black hole. You reminded me of how it was actually torturous for me for a while, how little sleep I was getting with one or both of the boys. I think it was just the first boy.
When did I remind you of this?
Recently, you were talking about...
Oh, when we were talking about that? Yeah.
And just...
I thought you meant on that episode, and I was like, I don't remember talking about that.
No, I had forgotten all about that. But anyway, the point is, yes, we used to film very sleep-deprived, and we have set a solid time now so that people can join us.
Yeah. Yeah, it used to happen just whenever we felt like filming. Mm-hmm. And I remember, too, in those early days, we didn't do one every single week. It was a while before I said, I want to make this an actual show, and I want to do it every single week, and I remember
you actually saying once in a while, hey, feel like filming?
Yeah, exactly. It was like every 2 or 3 weeks, like, something like that.
Dude, how many times do I have to tell you no?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's a bad idea.
Never, ever, ever.
No.
So, the show format has largely stayed the same. We've gotten a lot fancier. We've got cloth behind us now, if you can't tell.
We had cloth behind us at the very first show, too. Just, if you weren't there last week and you haven't gone back and watched the first show.
1.1. It was a good show. I liked it. It was a good
show. There was a sheet on the wall behind us because we were in the living room with shitty wallpaper and right in front of a closet door. And I was like, well, just hang a sheet up. It'll look nice. And I think it actually probably did look nicer than the closet.
It was okay.
It's a sheet.
I'm not sorry for the sheet. I don't look back at those early episodes and go,
ugh. Ooh.
My God,
what is this?
That? Yeah.
Jeez.
So anyway, there you go.
All right, so I
fluffing us?
Understand that we're supposed to have a bit of fluffery at this point. It's been a fun couple of weeks on Twitter. We've had, I think Arjun has started up the sequel pass denied hashtag. We had some good entries. Our very own Alan Hurt put in...
These come up a lot better than I thought.
Oh, yeah. Wow, they're not...
They shouldn't.
Greening
Why
out
is
at
that,
all.
Freddie?
How is it that I can't get through one sentence?
Sorry.
Not one. How ADD are you?
I was just going to hold it up and do the thing, and then it showed up, and it's not supposed to.
We've got the data recorded. We just need somebody to go. I'm going to hire an intern to go through.
The number of times you get
interrupted.
The
number of times I start on the fluffery you tell me to do, and then you interrupt me.
Go.
Alan Hurt, you don't need backups if you have a cluster. Sequel pass denied. You interrupted Alan, too. How unforgivable is that? I got your back.
I didn't interrupt Alan.
Yeah, you did. It's his tweet.
Him.
Robert Davis, our very own Robert Davis. Read uncommitted. I put that shit on everything. Sequel pass denied. Let's see. We had a couple of others that I really liked. But only a couple of others because, read your own damn hashtags. Oh, I can't find it now. Well, screw it. So
I'll never get tired of hearing that.
There you go. Let's see. Audrey Hammonds tweeted, misspelled reserved words so that you can use it as a column name. Things like table with 2 L's, she told me.
Oh my God.
And stuff like that. There were some worse things about it, but I forget what else she said.
Oh my God. I've seen that. I worked at a project where they had a couple columns misspelled on a couple major things, right?
Yeah.
And it just drives you bananas, because I know how to spell customer, damn it.
Yeah. Customer.
Yeah.
Customered.
You're going to get me on one of my big peeves, so let's move on.
Chuck Rummel, and I think I talked about this last week, but I'm going to say it this week because it deserves recording. Chuck Rummel posted me, "Why is your app causing primary key errors? Vendor, you need to give the database more horsepower. Me, so it can throw primary key errors faster?"
Well, I think the reasoning behind that, and the more I think about it, it's really not that unsound. You can sneak the data in there before the check goes through.
Okay. You know,
Sort of
there's
like
a certain amount of sense.
Sort
to
of
that.
like the check is in the mail.
Sure. I get that. Let's see. Oh yes, where we were last week was Salt Lake City, but it was at the Pluralsight Authors Conference, and it made me go out and look at there again. You can get a free 10-day trial. I realize this sounds like a commercial, but I suppose technically it is, only it's not paid. Anyway, Pluralsight, IT training, you can get a free 10-day trial. Check it out. Sean's got a great database administration course out there. Getting a lot of praise.
It is a great session.
It's a great session.
Well, course.
And
I'm extending
set of
it.
sessions.
You guys, if any of you guys have seen my Pluralsight course and you like it, it's being extended right now, and it'll be the extension will be out in just under a year.
It'll be less than that, but he is dragging his feet. Not entirely your fault, but mostly. I asked today, and I'll use this to launch a discussion. I took a quick poll. Under what circumstances would you separate databases into multiple instances on a single server or VM? And I put that question out there specifically because it came across, it came onto my radar, somebody recommending why aren't we using more instances? Why do we have everything on this one instance? And I'm like, well, you kind of need a specific reason, in my thinking, to have more than one instance. It's not just let's use these like folders and divvy things up. But I got a couple of good answers, and then I'll get on you.
Because we're changing the name to Super Server.
Adam Mechanic said, no reasons, no circumstances. I would use multiple VMs at this point instead of multiple instances. I think SQL Server multi-instance is way behind the curve. Interesting. That was Adam Mechanic. I can see how that would be a valid point of view, but it's also more resources. I say even more resources than a separate VM would be. I don't know. It kind of depends on your environment and what you have available. Denny said, one application required the SA password. You just give them a whole new instance. I like that. Anyway, that's my launching off point. Go.
Oh wow, I'm expected to
have an opinion on something?
Yeah. Wow.
If you don't, then don't.
No, it's not that I don't have an opinion. It's just, wow. Again, it's like, it depends, right?
Sure.
So, most of the time, I say there are only two real reasons to split off into separate instances.
Okay.
And this is assuming that you have to be on the same box, right? Number one is if you have, like Denny said, if you have strict security requirements, that means no mingling whatsoever, right? You see that quite often in government stuff, where, and even some PHI kind of applications, where they'll say no mingling whatsoever of any security. It has to be kept completely separately. In those cases, they a lot of times even insist that you're on a separate box. But quite often you can, separate instances is good enough, right? But a lot of times the people that don't know any better will say it has to be on a separate box, not realizing that it actually is two separate boxes, right? Number two is if you're going to have heavy traffic and you need a separate temp DB.
Yeah. Because
you know for a fact that one of a single temp DB couldn't handle both sets of traffic for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm not a big fan of splitting things up into separate instances. I'm with Adam on that. If you're going to do that, then use separate VMs. I'm just not a fan of having 2 instances or 3 instances on a single box, it actually makes the box a little bit more bullshit to admin than you need, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, as far as PowerShell goes, you code everything for multiple instances if you can, right? Mm-hmm. The way I do it, I view them as separate boxes anyway, so the code doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know if it's on a separate box or on just a separate instance on the same box. But I'm really not a big fan of multiple instances in a cluster. But it is what it is.
Why would you do that?
I know. That was for you though.
Why? You look really sleepy.
Yeah, I'm a little
We
bit.
might be in luck tonight. Sean's looking kind of punchy. Alan's with us. He says, like I said, performance factors in, not just security. Different collations, lots of reasons.
Yeah, there are reasons.
I don't know. I just wanted to do a quick poll online.
But I would say
here.
different reasons for different installs, not necessarily different reasons for different instances on the same box. I still just like that a lot less. So anywho,
Glenda says licensing for monitoring software by having multiple instances, you might not have to pay as much, as opposed to, I presume, different servers and VMs. A little bit of a news item. You remember Cindy Gross?
I do.
She is an MCM. She was my higher up when I was at Microsoft.
She remembers me too, because she says hi every time I see her at a con. So
oh, that's nice.
She still at least remembers who I am.
One of the few. Oh, she's the one.
Yeah.
So she tweeted this week, I got arrested. What are you doing?
Oh my.
She went out and got purposefully arrested in the middle of a protest about Ohio's anti-gay representative.
It says Idaho.
I'm sorry. What did I say?
Ohio.
Oh, Idaho. Well, it's got all the same letters, only rearranged and different.
Absolutely.
So from her blog, which is cindygross.wordpress.com, I believe in justice, I believe in human rights, I believe gay rights are human rights, I believe the Equal Protection Clause, the U.S. Constitution guarantees equal justice under the law. Idaho is keeping that, they read it right that time, justice from an entire group of people. Just wanted to briefly mention that because it's not every day that one of our community says, I got arrested. I was like, that sounds interesting. The basic protest is to add a little bit of wording to... Hang on. Add the 4 words. They won't even hold a hearing to listen to the stories of those who face discrimination. I'm going to have to come back to this because I thought I would be able to just snag that wording right out of this, but this is not helping me. Anyway, totally go and read Cindy's blog, and I'll loop back around to this in a minute.
Okay.
So, what you got? You got stuff?
This week, I'm just going to give a little shout out. This week, I was in Omaha user group. Mm-hmm. I was invited out there by the Klee man, who gave a very good talk on virtualization performance and the things that you need to take into account and the things that'll screw your performance and things that you need to do and whatnot. He really does give a good talk. I've never seen him speak before, right? I've never seen most people speak because, I pretty much know it all and I don't need to go hear anybody speak. Mm-hmm. But every now and then I'll take pity on the common man and I'll grace them with my presence. No. It's funny because when they asked me to come over, I was like, I'm being set up for something. I was like, am I being lured here? It's just, somebody said, well, why would you think something like that? Because when you're me, you always got to consider the possibility that you're being lured into a trap, right? Mm-hmm. It's a trap. But yeah, it was a really good talk. I really, really liked it. So, and they were very friendly to me there. There were even a couple guys from the show. We had Data Mongrel there.
Very friendly.
Especially here. So anyway, I will definitely go back to there if I happen to be in town during their meeting again. And I've been asked to speak remotely at the Lincoln user group, which is their sister group sort of thing, right? They trade off every other month. That's all I have on that.
There you are. I was looking for Kleegeek.
Kleegeek.
On the Twitters.
It sounds like something you get when dating a nerdy girl.
Went out with that girl. I got all the way to third base, but man, she gave me the Kleegeek.
See?
I'm just being supportive.
So anyway, and on that note, and I'm not being paid for this at all, from what I can tell of his session, I would highly recommend him as someone that you would want helping you set up your virtual environment. He's a contractor. He does his own contracting gig, and he really seems to know his shit.
Well, that's nice. We don't actually get to hear that every day.
Yeah, right? How many people do I say that about? 5, 6 tops?
Yeah. So we ought to make a list.
Yeah.
People who appear to not suck.
Exactly. That's a ringing endorsement if I've ever heard one. You appear not to suck too much.
Okay, so looping back to Cindy real quick.
Yes, loop back to Cindy.
In the 1960s, Idaho added a Human Rights Act. We simply want to add the words sexual orientation and gender identity to that existing act to tell Idahoans, really? That gay folk get the same basic human rights as the rest of us. Former governor supports the modification.
Does that mean unarresting people who stand up for things like that?
I think it has to do with, like, I don't know if it's also not being able to fire people and so forth. But anyway, I just wanted to look back and get the wording because that was really bothering me that I couldn't find it.
Okay.
So.
You want to go ahead and do my big thing right now?
Sure. We've been married almost 10 years now, folks. This is romance.
Yeah, right. That was the foreplay.
So, Sean, what's your big thing this week?
Okay, so, Freddie, you can get the PowerPoint ready. I'm not ready for it yet, but...
Oh, it's ready. I got it ready for you.
Oh.
So I came across something really interesting.
Did you?
And it's about CAPTCHA. And for those of you that don't know what CAPTCHA is...
I know what it is.
CAPTCHA is those funky words that you have to type to prove you're a human when you're filling out a web form,
sure.
Right? So the way this worked, they had CAPTCHA. They decided to do something. They decided to do something humanitarian with it, right?
Okay.
And so they rebranded it as reCAPTCHA.
Okay.
reCAPTCHA was then bought by Google, and what it does is, you notice that you got two words. You got one on the left and one on the right. Oh, I'll go back to our other theme, right? You got one on the left and one on the right, right? Sometimes they're really far apart. Sometimes they're really close together, but they're never moving or turning or anything like that, right?
Sometimes they're kind of uneven.
Yeah, sometimes they're kind of uneven. One of them is bigger than the other. And that's just weird, right? You like them to be the same size on the left and the right.
It's a good idea to have them even if you can, but it's not always, it's not always possible to have them.
Exactly. So, anyway, one on the left, one on the right. Or I'll do it mirror image for you. One on the left, one on the right. I don't know if that works out, but it does here. Okay, so, did you know that when you type in both of those, one of them is to prove that you're a human, and what they've done with the other one is they're trying really hard to put all of the print books into digital format. So they scan them and then OCR them, right? Books that are about 50 years old, anything that's older than about 50 years, the OCR software can have a really hard time recognizing the words. Funkiness in typewriters, smudges, stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't always know what the word is. So what it does is they've got a way, now that they shoot those words up to you, and they've got the entire world telling them what that word is. So one of the words is to prove you're a human, and the other one is to verify or tell the OCR what that word is supposed to be, because we can make it out.
Sure.
Right? So they don't just rely on...
Because I'm smart.
Yeah, and they don't just rely on you, right? They send it out to they send that same word out to 10 people, and if they all get it right or a high percentage of them get it right, then they go ahead and say that's the word, right?
Sure.
So it's not just one person, because you could have mistyped it. You could know what it is, and you could have mistyped it. So let me get some other stuff out of here. So there are roughly 200 million CAPTCHAs typed a day. Now, you waste about 10 seconds typing them. So
why does it take so long?
It's about a combined 500,000 hours wasted by everyone every day typing captchas.
I wouldn't call it wasted, Bob.
Well, that's why that's one of the reasons he decided to do reCAPTCHA, was to make that 10 seconds last, to make it worth something.
Okay.
Profitable to them.
Well, not necessarily profitable to them. I don't know who all's doing the scanning, right?
Yeah.
I doubt it's he himself doing the scanning. I've lost my mouse. Where's my mouse? There it is.
It happens to everybody as they get older.
So they're digitizing books with this, and 10 people. And so right now they're doing about 100 million words a day. They're clearing up the OCR in about 100 million words a day, which is about 2.5 million books a year that they're able to finally finish the OCRing, right?
They've actually given a million monkeys a million typewriters.
Exactly, right? So there were some cool things that came out of this, right? Like they were randomly generated letters into words, and every now and then you got things like there's this CAPTCHA up there that said "wait" in big letters, right? And then shortly after that, Amazon got a help ticket that said, "I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and nothing has happened." Mm-hmm. And there was another one that said "restart."
Okay.
That's it. It's just very unfortunate that some poor idiot out there is going to get restart and take that as a direction instead of a CAPTCHA. So...
What do they get, fuck or something like that?
Robert says I always enter penis as the second word.
Okay. Now, there have been some unfortunate combinations, because even these two, one of them's randomly generated and the other one is the OCR, right?
Sure. So
there have been some bad combinations there too. Like on a Christian site, they got the CAPTCHA "bad Christians." On johnedwards.com, they got "damn liberal."
Oops.
I know, right? So that leads us to two more topics here. One of them is CAPTCHA art, which we're going to come back to in a minute. But the next one is they're trying to use the exact same thing to translate the web. Right now, the web is mostly English.
Okay.
And so translating is super expensive because they get paid by the word, right? Usually in the neighborhood of like 10 or 20 cents a word. Mm-hmm. So, as an example, just to translate Wikipedia into Spanish alone would take about $500 million. I mean, $50 million, I'm sorry. That's a lot of money to translate all of Wikipedia's content just into Spanish, not to mention all the other languages, right? So what they've done now is they've created Duolingo.com.
Duolingo comes from that?
Duolingo. And so it's a free language learning site where you're actually working with real content and translating different parts of the web into the different languages. And the numbers on this are absolutely fascinating. Wikipedia could be done in 5 weeks with 100,000 users, and it could be done in 80 hours with 1 million users. And since all of their other projects have gotten millions of users, they're very hopeful that that they can start translating large portions of the web fairly quickly. So go to Duolingo.com. You can learn a language for free, and you can help translate the web at the exact same time. That's pretty cool stuff.
Really cool.
Right?
I might have heard about that ever, and I forget. So it's good.
So now we're back to the CAPTCHA art, which is a huge meme that's been all over. That's just gazillions and gazillions big, right? Mm-hmm. And so what it is they've taken some of these CAPTCHA combos and put art to them.
Sure.
And we've got some of these in a PowerPoint that we are ready for now. As long as we still have Mike, we're good.
Do we still have Mike?
Do we still have Mike?
Yeah.
Yay.
You didn't say that very convincingly.
Lord Emo... Oh, I saw that earlier, and I kept saying Emo Stash, and I was like, why is Lord Emo Stash stabbing that kid?
It's Lord Emo Stabby. Lord Emo Stabby.
Yes.
So if you get it, that little guy down there, he's
emo. I get it.
And Lord Emo Stabe. I like that. That's funny. Go to the next one. Disapproval turtle. I just like that one.
Disapproval turtle disapproves heartily. Do you think he teams up with Ceiling Cat?
I don't know.
Ceiling Cat is watching you masturbate.
Yes, but he disapproves.
He disapproves very
Next. Now I like this one because he has left Dadville.
Because they're all dads.
Next. And this one's Lion Tomato.
Okay.
I
like Lion Tomato.
I like how the Lion Tomato speaks in all caps.
Yeah, right? Next.
What?
And this one is just funny. Sir, we need a bad actress to play in a shitty comedy/romance film, but we're out of actresses. Get Aniston.
Oh, man.
And I think there's one more. And this was just a translation from they're talking about
what?
They're talking about computer translators and how they go so wrong sometimes. This was a Japanese to English JavaScript question that was auto-translated for a forum.
The funny thing is, to a degree, I can read this. I have learned to read mistranslations.
Oh, come on now. How many times, like the wind, a pole and a dragon?
I said to a degree. The first part is you can understand it. This is English question is faulty. But in other words, my English is bad. This is my question. Thank the computer for its translation. I'm sorry. Not often the goat time install era is vomit. No, that one makes sense too. How many times, like the wind, a pole, and a dragon? No, yeah, I got that. This insult to Father Stones. Oh, well, come on, that's obvious. And please apologize for your stupidity.
I don't know, still too kind of lost there.
So, like I said, that one really didn't have much to do with anything other than it was on the general topic and it was really, really funny. So, we can come back now. So, if you want to see the whole thing, that was a TED Talk. So if you just go to YouTube and type in TED Talk and then CAPTCHA, CAPTCHA, then you can see that entire talk. It's only like, I don't know, 20 minutes, I guess.
But watch it after the show.
Yeah, watch it after this show. Don't go there now. But it's funny, and he's a decent speaker, so you'll like it. I've been watching some really good TED Talks tonight. I know, right? Please apologize for your stupidity.
I'm making that into a button right now.
Can you wait till after the show, too?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. I'm listening and talking and everything.
No,
it's gonna be great.
That was my big segment, so...
Oh, I have to do something now? God.
Everybody shut up in the chat room, or am I just not getting...
That sounds like a command. Shut up in the chat room.
Yeah.
God, you guys.
Am I just not getting anything anymore?
Oh, my. Oh,
Last one I got was, you got something against psychos? They don't look like Presbyterians to me.
I get that.
Oh.
Totally get that.
Okay. So Freddie just said something. So everybody's just...
They're fascinated.
They got up to pee.
Please apologize for your stupidity. Oh my God, that is the best thing ever.
We'll make those pass buttons.
Oh, man.
So.
Okay. I'm looking at things. What have I done this week? We talked
Somebody
about
says
everything already.
testes.
Okay, here's the thing. And this is very short. There hasn't been much of any follow-up on this. I just got a retweet of a retweet. This this comedian seems British. Just posted. She just tweeted. Said this just happened, and a picture of an email that she had received. And all it says is, "Hi Jenny, I'm really sorry, but the venue have decided that they don't want too many women on the bill, and unfortunately, we need to take you out of this one. We hope this doesn't cause any inconvenience." And
well,
that's something that happened. You know, my initial question was, I wonder if they ever do this, if they have like too many black guys on the ticket, or too many.
Sorry, dude, we got our token.
Yeah, no, and I was like, well, we're very sorry, but we have too many Jews in the program tonight, so we're going to have to let you go. We hope this doesn't cause any inconvenience. Too many women. This is what I heard this quote. Joss Whedon, somebody asked him, why do you write such strong female characters? And he said, because you're still asking that question.
Yeah.
We have to take people off the bill because you've got too many women, because the default,
because
the set level is
Penny was a
man.
Rock of Gibraltar there.
But Penny?
Isn't it Penny?
Penny? What are you talking about?
You were talking about Joss Whedon.
I was talking about Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Penny from what?
Isn't it Penny?
Yeah, I think so.
You still haven't named a show.
Her.
The only show with a penny in it.
Who is her?
Oh, who is her? For some reason, I went straight to Big Bang Theory.
Oh.
And I was like, that's not Joss Whedon! God, you're stupid! No, but I mean, not every... I think it would get very old if every single female character in every single thing were this strong, upright citizen.
Or were you talking about that cute groupie?
Well, it's not the only thing that he's done. He did Buffy, and he did that spinoff from Buffy.
There aren't any strong females in Buffy. You had...
I never actually watched that. And Firefly. Like, every freaking woman in there is super duper...
Dude.
What?
Mel is a guy.
Mal
is a guy.
Oh, God, we had the greatest moment last night. Oh, it was fantastic.
You and Mal?
No, yes. Sean and I were talking with our daughter, and how did that come up? And trying to prove that she was a nerd, because she was very dismissive. If I'm going to be a nerd, then I'm not just going to be a nerd. There's no way I would ever be a nerd. And Sean says something about what were those creatures in Doctor Who? They were called. What were they called? They were like flying angels. Was that what they were? And she just looked at him.
Yeah, she's just staring. She's got that stare like I hate you so much.
Like, no. They were like the walking. No, they were the something angels. I forget what else I said. And he said something else. And then I was like, no, they were the crying angels. And he leans in and he whispers, "You moron. I was saying it wrong so that she would say it right and disprove me." And I said, "Fucktard. They're the weeping angels."
I'm still saying
I said it wrong. And he was like, "Yes, you did." It was just a good moment. That's all I have to say on that.
You done with that?
Penny. They're just naming pennies in the chat room.
Yeah, I know that.
Good times Penny, Inspector
There's
Gadget,
the 1987
Pee-wee.
Buffalo Penny. So I've got something completely off topic.
Yes. That was way on topic.
Charlotte Church.
I'll look her up.
She was the teenage opera star forever ago. And I mean, she was like, I don't know, like 14, and sang just like, my God, sang like
A singer?
Yeah, a really, really phenomenal opera singer, right? She was really good. And she's, and you know, back then there was a big to do about letting her sing that much, because your vocal cords are still forming, and you know when you're too young, you can really damage your voice if you
Sure, and then you'll wind up looking
right?
like Michael Jackson.
Right. So she is now launching her pop career, which I think is a huge jump, right? Because you haven't established yourself as a pop anything. And I'm going to put this under big fail.
Okay.
She was putting together one of those videos where all of her fans come out and spontaneously dance, sort of thing. They arranged this big dance-a thing with all of her fans. One showed up.
That's not okay.
Oh my God. I guess opera people don't like to dance.
Okay, I'm tweeting that.
Okay, fair enough. Keep your head up, Billy Buddy. At least that's what Captain Hammer's always saying.
Don't like to dance.
So real quick, while she's screwing around on the internet when she's supposed to be doing a show.
I'm pimping the show while we're on the show.
So, not to make you guys choose or anything.
But we're going to make you choose.
But we're going to make you choose. We've got stickers. So, you know that we've got our new logo back here, right? So, we have got...
There. Did I look like me?
We have got laptop stickers. One of me. One of her. I'll put them both up. And when we hand out stickers at PASS or at SQLsats or wherever it is that we happen to be, we're going to make you pick your favorite Midnight DBA.
Because we probably won't have enough stickers for everybody. Actually, I should order some small ones as well because they come a lot more to a sheet.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't want a... Yeah, everybody doesn't want a big one. As I've come to find out. And thank God for me, too. So... Yeah, so I was really upset about this shirt. I got this from the girls who hosted the Omaha user group, and I told them we would wear them tonight, and I fully meant to. And then you said, "Oh, it's not going to work with the green screen." And you're absolutely right. We get anything even vaguely green here, and it doesn't show up. And look at it; it shows up just perfectly. So I'm just going to hold up the shirt. Geeks need love too. I think
this is what inspired the nerd discussion last night because our daughter was like,
"Yeah, oh yeah," because I was saying how I thought the shirt was cute.
It is cute.
And she was, crapping all over it. And then here, just to be nice, I'll show the name of the company.
Aureus Group.
Aureus Group.
AureusGroup.com. Aureus_systems.
Yes, there you go. If you are a consultant looking for work, go ahead and call these guys. Why not?
Call them on their internet.
Hold it up again.
Hold what up?
The shirt.
Are you going to zip it out?
I'm gonna
zippity-doo-dah there, Dave.
Green and green, huh? So that's the difference between transparent and not.
Oh wait, keep it going, keep it going.
But it's often a completely different color of green.
This worked perfectly when we used it.
Yeah, see, it's often a different
light
color.
Green doesn't work. You know what? If we did like an RDP, is that it? No, that's not right. If we did color coding on that, I bet that would wind up like having more blue in it or something.
Here, let me see that again.
So I have a thing.
Ooh.
Denny Cherry posted this on Twitter. This is from the dailywtf.com, and it's entitled "Jumping the Resina Gun." I'll read bits of it. You're gonna use your cloak of invisibility.
I've got my own cloak of invisibility here.
There you go. Let's see. A large bank is one of those places where bureaucracy tends to rule supreme. This is the story of interviewing and going to hire somebody on, and then suddenly, out of the blue, getting a hiring freeze, right? We have to put all hiring on hold for about a month. One of the VPs was spooked by an auditor in the parking lot yesterday, and they've dropped an emergency budget freeze. Oh, great.
Mm-hmm.
Paul called Human Solutioneering to let them know. He always hated to be the bearer of bad news, but he wasn't expecting the response. "This is a big problem, Paul," the recruiter said. "You should have told us sooner." "I didn't have a response until today, so this is the soonest I could have told you." "What exactly is the problem? We've turned down candidates before." "Well, this time the candidate already gave his 2 weeks' notice." "You what? We didn't even give him a formal offer yet."
Man, that breaks a huge rule.
"Don't do that." "Bob's an excitable fellow, Paul. When we told him he would probably get an offer by Friday, he said he had to go draft his resignation letter and hung up. Why aren't you guys giving him the job?" Paul fought not to be put on the defensive. It wasn't his fault that this guy had played his hand too early. This is true. "I really can't comment on that. Look, you're Bob's representatives, right? Didn't you call him back and suggest that quitting before signing a job offer was a bad idea?" "Well, well, you guys always came back with the offer, so we figured..." Paul's second line lit up. HR was calling. "Hello? Paul, we have a Bob on the line, and he's wondering about his start date and when his benefits kick in. We don't have any record of his hiring, but he said he interviewed with your team." "Yeah, our budget was frozen, so we never made a formal offer." So that was more or less the end of it. The dude, called him several times over the remaining weeks, and he never picked up because,
Yeah.
I've done my due diligence, but that's kind of sad, and you should not do that.
I talk about that from time to time when we get on that topic.
Yeah.
About the guys that I've seen who have given their notice and who have gotten an offer and given their notice, and just a couple days before they're supposed to start, they lose funding for the position. And I'm like, now, frankly, okay, right to work state and all that other bullshit, it should be against the law to do that. You've made a verbal contract, and you know what? You should be forced to do a little bit more diligence before hiring somebody and leaving them penniless than just to say, oh, I think we'll hire somebody, and then less than a week or two later, losing funding. You should be forced to have a little bit more diligence around your positions than that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think so. If you can't do any better than that, that's absurd. I realize things happen.
Yeah.
But don't put up for the position unless you're going to get the contract that makes that position right? Don't assume you're going to get it and then hire somebody and then say, oh, sorry. No, that's not cool, dude. It's really, really not cool.
Yeah, Geek Drew says, I was formally offered a job and a budget freeze was implemented after the offer acceptance and before I started.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I've seen that a number of times, and it really gets me every time because, you know, we're acting in good faith. That's why I always tell everybody, you don't have the job until you have the job. And what they're forcing us to do is not give any notice at all. Right? Dude, I start a new job Monday. I quit. Why didn't I give you notice? Because I couldn't take a chance on them losing funding and having already told you.
Yeah.
It's just, God, man, they force you to do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 Are you taking notes?
Yes.
Yay.
Like I always do.
Yes. Yes.
Every single time.
So.
I do.
Yeah.
Thinking something nice and... Oh. I was going to say nice and scripty like that, but then the script went away.
Oh, well. So, okay. I have something here. We're going to keep it on the lighter side of things. So I kind of want to hear what the chat room has to say about this. I'm going to open this up as more of a discussion because...
Alrighty then.
So, it came about a while back that I was helping somebody find a new job.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, I'm in a large environment now, and the environment that you're sending me to is much smaller. Am I hurting myself as a DBA to take a job in a smaller environment? So that's a really good question, right? What kind of gig should you be taking as a DBA? Is it okay to be a DBA in a small place? I mean, not like morally, but... So, I opened that discussion up. I realized that it's...
Things.
I realized that we're on a delay.
Well, we can discuss it while they're discussing it.
And I can't hold a thought in my head for very long.
Yes, I know.
So, anyway, go ahead.
As always, it really depends. It depends on whether you've got somebody in the small shop that's going to be a good mentor. It depends on where you are in your own career. It depends on how much of a self-motivator you are. It depends on what kind of technology they have and where they're going. It depends on the kind of things that you like to do. I mean, it depends on what your goals are. If they're offering you a 20K bump and you need more money, because, who doesn't, then that's probably not a bad thing. I've gotten fairly... Years and years ago, when I started in this business, I interned at FedEx for a long time, not as a DBA, but as a general purpose programmer and writer and this and that and flunky and all that sort of thing, and got into databases there, and then wound up getting onto my first job, my first full-time database job elsewhere. When I started doing that, my mother got really, really nervous because I switched to this company and stayed there for, 9 or 12 months, and switched to another company and stayed there, and a thing happened. And in the course of 5 years, I had, 4 or 6 jobs. I'd have to go back and look. And that she thought I was ruining my career chances. that's really old school thinking, and I thought so at the time, and I've confirmed it now. If you move to a smaller shop, and it turns out it wasn't a good idea, do what you can to make the best of it, and in the meantime, look somewhere else. That's how you get raises anyway.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a job hopper, I get that. But moving to a small shop, going, oh, I made a mistake, and going to another job.
And there's another factor here, too.
It depends.
Other than Jeff Rutch saying,
do they pay in Bitcoin?
Do they pay in Bitcoin? But there's another one, too. So one of the big reasons, or the big reason that I have for my enterprise pre-con, right, is that so many DBAs are in big shops and have never been taught how to run a big shop. It's not the same, and I say this so much, it's not the same to go to a few sessions and learn the features or learn a bit of code, right? And then come in. You're not learning how to run a shop. You're learning how to do individual tasks in a database, right? So that's not the same thing as learning how to run a big shop. And so that's why I put that session together, because nobody has that kind of experience, and I felt it my duty, right? Yes, I felt my duty to teach them how to run a big shop, because I've run big shops for years, right? And what were we talking about? God, I just can't keep anything in my head tonight.
Well, we were talking about small shops.
Small shop. Oh yeah. So that's another consideration, is if you're in a big shop, you're going to see a lot of things. You're going to have, dozens of groups. You're going to have hundreds or thousands of servers. You're going to have lots of restores, lots of data moves back and forth. You're going to have to put up with a lot of stupidity. You're going to have to put up with, you'll get a couple good ideas trickle in every year, right? But there's a lot of stuff that's involved in that. But one thing that you could seriously be lacking is actual mentorship. And if you're going to a small shop, and if it's the kind of shop that's going to have somebody who's really good at what they do, and you're going to be working closely enough with them to actually learn.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a much better deal to go somewhere and learn your job from somebody and be mentored, than to be on your own in a big shop and thinking that you're the shit, right? And in 5 years, you're really not going to know that much more than you knew before. So I've seen it again and again.
I've got something, but I'm going to read from the chat room first. SQL Student says both have their benefits. Small place gives you more opportunity to do non-DBA stuff. Glenda says, doesn't it matter what you like doing? I don't have skills in a certain area, but I do as a jack of all trades, so small shops work well for me. Clee Geek says, I call it the apprenticeship. Yeah, and for me, big shop, small shop is not always perfectly indicative, because even with a big shop with a lot of stuff going on, it could be very siloed. I've been in places where production is just locked right the hell down, and you're on this project for a little while, and then you move to the warehousing project, and then you do the, or you're just always ticket, and it which is, again, not to say that big shops.
We just went away up here, dude.
It probably just minimized.
Okay. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It's not about the size of the shop. It's what you do with it, right? I mean, because you could have 5 servers, 20 terabytes apiece. I mean, you could have a really diverse group of servers there. You could have one with 3,000 databases on it, one with 2 databases on it that are, tens of terabytes apiece, and another one with normal activity, one with a fairly decent, 200 or 300 gig database with gazillions of transactions an hour, and it's a very volatile database, right?
Yeah.
So you could have all kinds of things in that one small environment. So I would say judge it by the environment, not necessarily solely by the size of the environment, because you brought up a good point there that a large place could be so siloed that you can't get much done anyway. Or you could be mired in so much older technology. You see that in hospitals a lot, right? Where everybody's still on 2005.
AS400, baby. Woo!
Yeah. Okay, great. I get to manage 500 servers between just me and one other guy, but they're all 2005 boxes, and I'm not going to be any smarter in 5 years than I ever was, right? So there are a lot of factors that get involved in there, and yeah, it's not an easy decision, but I would say the tipping point is going to be, what I always tell people is, where do you want to be in 5 years? And don't take a job that doesn't put you there. If you want to be a BI guy, right? Take a job, I don't care where it is, take a job where you are going to get some BI experience. Period. If you're not going to get BI experience, don't take the job. If it's not going to further your goal. Will you end up making a little bit less money sometimes? Absolutely. I've taken 20K pay cuts before to learn something I wanted to learn, and I've made that money back 100-fold. So, yeah, you may tighten the belt a little bit for a couple years while you're learning PDW.
That'd be $20 million.
Huh.
I don't think we've made that much. Tenfold. We've made it back tenfold.
Yes. What did I say?
20,000 pay cut, 100-fold.
I see. Is that 20 million?
20 million or is it 2 million?
Can't be 20 million.
Let's see, 20,000, and you got to add 2 zeros onto it. 2 million.
2 million.
2 million. I'm good at math.
Yeah, you're all
I'm
good
a
at math and
professional.
stuff. Okay, so that's a little bit more believable. So we have made it.
I think we've made $2 million.
So,
I need to take a look at.
So yeah, it's more about where you want to be, and just put yourself there.
Oh my. Sequel student says, I turned down a job at a big company one time because the interviewer told me they'd gotten rid of their old-fashioned relational database and converted to a single flat table.
Oh my. Okay.
Wow.
See, they usually don't tell you that kind of thing.
And Jeff said, I hope you scooted your ass along their carpet on your way out.
Yeah, they usually don't tell you that kind of thing until you're already hired, you know?
Yeah.
That's the hidden truth. That's
screed.
the other shoe. The other shoe.
Let's see. Big shops versus small shops in my notes.
Yes. Well, it's a summary I'm looking for, but sure.
I'm aware of that, but I take a list and I do a summary. It is just about time, and it's our show. We got time to fart around, but
sure, fart.
I do want to get to something in particular. I have submitted to. I'm speaking at the Alaska User Group meeting remotely on April 10th. We have submitted to Houston SQL Saturday, that's May 10th. We have submitted to Oklahoma SQL Saturday, August 23rd. And we have an Oklahoma pre-con. So if you're going to be in or near Oklahoma City on August 22nd, you totally need to be in our pre-con. What are we doing? We're doing the career one, aren't we?
No, we're doing the...
Oh, Enterprise?
No, we're doing the Enterprise DBA one that I was just pimping so hard.
So you should totally sign up for that.
This is one of those things that I believe in so strongly. I love this pre-con. I love the material. I love teaching the material. I love talking about the material with students. And I love seeing the light come on like I did last time I taught it in Dallas with a couple students when they're like, wow, I never thought of it that way. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. Also submitted to Kansas City. We will be submitting to, I believe, Baton Rouge and Austin if they do one. And I'm not sure yet about Little Rock. I don't know how far that is.
Yeah, we might do one remote one. A guy here was asking me if we were coming to DC on the 22nd
of this month. Like, this month is already pretty jam-packed.
Yeah, well, I doubt very seriously we could get in there.
And they announced SQL Bits in July. We're going to be in Europe in June, and they announced SQL Bits for July, those bastards.
You bastards.
So now I'm like, well, maybe if we submit a pre-con to them, then we could justify the additional plane tickets. And that could be fun.
If you want to submit a pre-con, go ahead. They won't take us, but...
Gee, Dad, I never thought of it that way before.
Yeah, that's... You know what? That's exactly the way I heard it in my head, too. As I was saying it, that's exactly the way I heard it in my head, so...
Gee, Johnny, I've never seen anyone dance like that.
And I'm going to be remote at the Lincoln user group.
Yeah.
Lincoln, Nebraska, is it? Like, I don't know when.
Sometime
soon. But y'all don't care because, you know, it's somebody else's user group. So.
And they've got.
If you do a good job, will you put in a good word with me? Put in a good word for me in Alaska?
Sure will. I'm sure they'd be delighted. I do need to write them back and go, you do know I meant both of us, right? So, yeah. Now I'm all cold.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. I'll put it all on one side and it'll warm me up on this side.
There you go. You got to look like your picture.
I need those.
LinkedIn, Nebraska. I like it.
LinkedIn, Nebraska. Cute. Yeah, I bet they've never heard that before. You have any final business you wish to attend here on the show? Ooh. Robert's doing a pre-con at Richmond sequel Saturday in a couple weeks.
Well, Robert, let's pimp it real quick. What is your pre-con on, and then we'll get out of here. Are you queued for the music, dude?
SequelSaturday.com.
Sure. We're waiting for Robert,
Richmond, Virginia is March 22nd.
Oh, see, you can look it up faster than he can type.
Well, we're on a lag. Pre-con with Robert L. Davis, performance tuning and troubleshooting like a pro for all levels.
You should have said like a boss.
Yeah.
I like it.
Cool. All right. So, come see Robert Soldier in Richmond, Virginia in a couple weeks.
That was easy.
Yeah.
We should totally say our goodbyes now.
Our goodbyes now.
Our goodbyes now.
All right. Well, one of the major tenets of doing a session is knowing when to shut up. So, party on Wayne.
Party on Garth.
We got to pull the mic closer for this one, don't we? I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Oh, I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Oh, if you don't leave me alone, you're gonna have to send me home. 'Cause I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Wait for the drop.